Liverpool 4, Bournemouth 2. What a way to start the season. I'm sorry I'm late with this review. I've had, stuff I've been doing over the weekend, so we've already seen a whole nother day of Premier League action. It's Sunday now. That game was on Friday night, UK time. And I will make another video talking about the other game that I watched. But let's talk about the season opener. Obviously, it was a fun surprise. I really wasn't expecting the game to be that entertaining. I did think it would be a decent game. I did correctly predict Liverpool to win by 2 goals. However, I thought it would be 2-0 to Liverpool. They ended up getting the 4-2 win. And yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot to take away from this game. Obviously, I want to start off by talking about the tributes that all the fans had to Diogo Jota. Obviously the Liverpool fans were singing all night. They had I think they had that they were singing in the 20th minute to honour him. But it just carried on for the rest of the game. And the Bournemouth fans were class as well. I saw they had a tifo in the away end. It was just really nice to see sort of everyone come together and honour Diogo Jota. Again, that was really nice to see. But back to the game. Liverpool started the game quite well. It was not scintillating, but they had control. They created a few chances that I'm trying to think of the ones. I remember Wirtz had an opportunity that he potentially could have done better with. Salah had a chance. I think there was another player, but I can't remember. They did have a few chances early, but it wasn't until the 37th minute when they finally broke through. Hugo Ekitike scoring his first Premier League goal in his Premier League debut. We don't want to do that. And it was a pretty decent finish. He receives the ball from... Who was it that gave him the ball? McAllister. He receives the ball from McAllister. There's a defender coming at him. He charges. The ball takes a double deflection, goes in behind. He runs on and plays it into the bottom corner. Keeper probably should have done a little bit better. He just dives the complete wrong way. And yeah, it was a lucky goal, getting the double deflection, but he did well to score it, and he's not going to be complaining. His first Premier League goal on his debut. And then that was sort of it for the first half. I mean, there was one Bournemouth chance I remember that Evanilson had, but that was really all Bournemouth did for the first half. It was played at a pretty low intensity. It wasn't the greatest standard, which I do understand. It was the first 45 minutes back in the season. It's not going to be played at the highest level. The second half got a lot better from Bournemouth. Liverpool scored through Cody Gakpo in the first 5 minutes of the second half. It was a great goal. He basically receives the ball at the edge of the box on the left-hand side, makes a run centrally, and then just slaps it into the bottom right corner. Just a typical finish that we see from Cody Gakpo a lot. And then all hell broke loose because Liverpool's back line, I will talk individually, but they just completely collapsed. Like, I thought defensively, Liverpool were not great. They didn't have much to do in the first half, but especially the second half, they were shambolic. No one knew where they were going. Obviously, the first goal, very well taken by Antoine Semenyo, who received disgusting racist comments by a Liverpool fan in the stands, which is absolutely unacceptable, and he silenced him by scoring again, where he takes the ball from the halfway line, sends Kanate back to France, and scores. So yeah, that was a brace inside 12 minutes, and Bournemouth came back from 2-0 down, and I mean, yeah, I thought at that point it was going to be a draw, but Liverpool just have the attacking firepower. Slot, it was a weird... I'll get to the substitutions when I sort of go in a bit more in depth, but he brings Chiesa on. 7 minutes later, Chiesa scores the winner, and then Mo Salah obviously rounds out the game by scoring a goal of his own. So yeah, I mean, it was an entertaining game. Obviously, 6 goals, drama with Liverpool going 2-0 up, then Bournemouth equalising, and then Liverpool scoring 2 winning goals late. So yeah, lots of drama. But let's sort of get into a bit more analysis. The starting 11, I mean, I was pretty interested with the way Liverpool lined up. You know, I was definitely expecting Ekitike to start because they don't really have another striker. Back four, again, simple back four. A lot of people were interested that Mamadashvili didn't start. I wasn't expecting him to. I was definitely expecting Alisson. It's just the midfield. Like, again, Wirtz, I was expecting to see Wirtz in the 10. And he's kept Szoboszlai in the pivot where he played in pre-season and brought McAllister in. Obviously, Gravenberch was suspended for this game because he got sent off against Crystal Palace last game of the season. And I thought McAllister, a lot of Liverpool fans were saying, that they didn't want to see McAllister because he's not fit. He looked pretty good to me. There were a couple moments where, it wasn't amazing, but he did look very nice. I think, as I said, defensively, I mean, Liverpool were quite shambolic. Alisson didn't really do much in goal because Bournemouth, other than the 2 goals, didn't really have a whole lot of opportunities. Milos Kerkez, I thought, was definitely... Oh, no, him and Kanate were both pretty bad. Kerkez was getting skinned by Semenyo all game. His positioning was really poor. He was leaving a lot of space on the right-hand side that Semenyo was able to exploit. I feel like Semenyo was probably a case for the man of the match, and it wasn't just because of the 2 goals. He was a genuine threat all game. And yeah, I think with Kerkez, he's obviously at a new team. He's in a different role. And this whole back four, it's a very new back four. When you've got 2 brand new fullbacks that play in a completely different way, you're going to expect them to not be great initially. Frimpong, I thought, was very good. I thought Frimpong was exceptional. And look, I know some people might say, well, Bournemouth didn't score the 2 goals until after Kerkez and Frimpong came off. I still thought that they were a little bit suspect early in the game, even before they conceded. There weren't that many chances, but I don't know, just watching their positioning, it felt like Bournemouth just needed to wake up and actually press go. Because, there were a couple moments where, again, Kerkez out of position. Kanate wasn't used to having Frimpong back there defending because he's so used to, Trent being in no man's land on a counter that he was occupying spaces out wide. Frimpong was there and they were just wasting 2 players on the flanks. And Van Dijk wasn't particularly great. I thought he wasn't nearly as bad as he was in the Community Shield. In the Community Shield, he was awful. He played an alright game. I think 8.1's a little bit generous, but he played an alright game. It was definitely the better of the 2 centre-backs, and I thought Frimpong was probably the best defender, and I don't get the substitution from Arne Slot to take him and Kerkez off for Robertson and Endo. Kerkez, I get, but I don't know why he took Frimpong off. If I was him, I probably would have kept Frimpong on. And look, Endo did assist off the bench, which, I mean, fair enough. But yeah, that substitution didn't really make much sense to me. The midfield was 50-50. I thought McAllister had a decent game. Szoboszlai, I thought, was quite good. Apparently, he had an error leading the goal. I mean, I guess just giving the ball away, a player dribbling from the halfway line and scoring, I guess that's an error leading the goal. I guess that's the same as a goalkeeper literally giving the ball straight to a striker who just puts it in the net. Doesn't really make much sense. I thought Szoboszlai was very good. He's obviously going to get used to this new role, but I think it's more suited to him because he doesn't have as much creative responsibility now. A lot of Liverpool fans, had a problem with Szoboszlai last season because whilst he does run his ass off, whilst he does press very well, he didn't give them the necessary creativity that they would have needed. But bringing Wirtz in means that he can just mainly act as this road runner who's just going to occupy space, and he was very good. I thought he actually had a very good game. Wirtz, underwhelming. Again, look, it's his Premier League debut. Similar to what I said about Kerkez, I wasn't expecting a whole lot. Well, actually, no, I was expecting a whole lot from Wirtz. I was actually expecting him to announce himself, but it's not. I'm not going to be too harsh on the guy in his first game in a brand new league, brand new system. Salah is inevitable. Like, we have to genuinely talk about Mohamed Salah. Like, this guy, he was wank. He was really bad. I thought the whole game he didn't really do anything of note. He did have a chance that he missed, giving the ball away sloppily, not really getting involved in the play as much as he should have, but he got his goal, and it was a very well taken finish on the left-hand side on the break, cuts inside on his right, very nice finish, a very underrated finish. And I mean, yeah, he's inevitable. Even in his worst performances, he's still able to get on the score sheet. And that's not me taking a dig at him, saying that he's a shit player and that his stats make him look better than he is. It's just like he's able to impact games. And I know that goal didn't really mean much because they'd already won. But it just killed the game off. It just killed the game off. Like any hope that Bournemouth had that they could have found an equaliser. No, Salah scores. Gakpo put in a decent performance, took his goal well. Didn't really offer too much other than that, but, he was okay. But my man of the match, I thought Semenyo was you could say that Semenyo was maybe the best player on the pitch, but since Liverpool won, I have to give my man of the match to Hugo Ekitike. That guy is a baller. I wasn't too sure about him. I had question marks on his finishing ability. But to be fair, I hadn't really watched him much. And now that I've actually seen him play twice in the Community Shield and in the Premier League, he scored 2 goals taken very well. But this guy's so techie. And the way that he drops deep and links up the play, that is something that Liverpool didn't have last season. Diogo Jota, when he played, he's excellent in the box. He was able to find space, able to finish, but he didn't offer that much in build-up. And Darwin Núñez, he's a demon in the final third in terms of causing chaos off the ball. He doesn't have the finishing. Ekitike is the most complete striker, genuine out-and-out striker that Liverpool have had in a long time. Because Firmino's not an out-and-out striker. They've got a genuine striker that's going to help them in the build-up, that's techie as shit. This guy's tech is crazy. His ball control. And yeah, really, when was the last time Liverpool had a striker like this? Had a proper striker that is able to be involved in all these different areas of the pitch. His assist was alright as well. Obviously, Gakpo did most of the work, but still getting an assist after scoring. Yeah, he was my man of the match. He had a lot of impact on this game. And yeah, I thought he was exceptional. Now getting to the Bournemouth side of things, I don't think many Bournemouth fans, if you're a Bournemouth fan, I think you'd be pretty satisfied with that overall. Obviously gutted that they lost the game, conceding late in the way that they did, that, to come back from 2-0 down only to still lose the game, it's a bit stiff. But in terms of the performance, I thought Bournemouth overachieved. I was expecting them not exactly take the game to Liverpool, but I was expecting them to put up a big fight. Premier League opener. They're in a very good position as a club now, Bournemouth. Yes, they've lost defenders, but I thought, even though they conceded 4 goals, I thought a lot of the defenders played alright. I'd say Smith was probably the best one. Again, it's difficult when you're up against such a lethal front four that weren't even particularly on it today. I thought probably Brooks was another standout. He was giving, whilst I thought Frimpong was very good, he was giving him a lot of problems, and it was a very good battle to see those two, because Frimpong, there were times in the first half when Frimpong got the best of him, and in the second half I think Brooks was a little bit better. And he was a lot better when Frimpong went off. When Frimpong went off, he was crazy, just bombing down that left-hand side, whipping those balls in, and ended up assisting Antoine Semenyo. The subs were alright. Traore obviously got an assist. None of them, massively impacted the game. They were just sort of there to see off the win. But yeah, look, it was a very interesting game. It was a very interesting way to kickstart the season. If we sort of look at what the stats show, it clearly shows that Liverpool were the better team. And I would agree. I didn't think Liverpool were particularly scintillating in attack. I didn't think that they were great defensively. But when you're the reigning champions, when you've signed all these new players, they had 4 players in their starting 11 making their debut, 3 of which had never played a single minute in the Premier League. You're not expecting to play your best possible football. I think Liverpool this season are going to play much better than they did. And for these first few games of the season, like if we look at the next few games they don't have easy games. You know, they've got Newcastle next week, then Arsenal, and then it gets a little bit easier with Burnley, Merseyside derby, Palace away, but then Chelsea United. See, they've got quite a difficult run to start the season. And I don't think we have to see Liverpool play their best football. I think we just have to see them pick up wins. Like Newcastle's a game that with no Alexander Isak, they would expect to win. Even away at St James's Park, I think, you know, they would potentially take a draw. But I think Liverpool are going to be hopeful to win that game. Again, Arsenal, they take a draw, a game they should win. Burnley, Everton and Palace are all games they're expecting to win. United, they're expecting to win. Chelsea, they could probably do with a draw. So Liverpool are genuinely going to be looking at these fixtures and think, we can go unbeaten. And I don't think they have to play their best possible football to do it. This game showed. You know, as I said, I thought Liverpool weren't particularly great. But with these new signings, it's just about getting these results in. It's just about sort of being in and around the top of the table once we get to Christmas, and then when the run-in hits, that's when you gotta hold form. And then Bournemouth, I mean, I think people are underestimating Bournemouth. Obviously, they've lost a lot of their defenders, but that back line's not terrible. Like, that's actually a decent back line, considering they've lost a lot of their players. Petrovic played okay, you know, it was difficult for him, but, you know, he did the best he could. I didn't think there was any goal that he probably, like, had to save. You know, could have done better for the Ekitike one, as I said, but, again, just... he was never really going to save that. And then if we look at their fixtures, I mean, they've got Wolves at home next. Wolves are wank. Like, I'll talk about Wolves in the next video when I get to that game, because that is the game that I watched, Wolves City. Then they've got Carabao Cup game, Spurs away, Brighton at home, Newcastle at home, Leeds away, Fulham at home. So like a decent fixtures. Obviously a couple difficult ones there in Spurs, Newcastle, but a lot of these other games they'll be expecting to win. I mean, pretty much every home game Bournemouth would be hoping to win. Like, these next 2, they should be winning because I don't rate Wolves or Brentford. Spurs, you know, if they can maybe get away with a point. Brighton, they'd hope for a win, but I think Brighton are a better team than them. Newcastle, sort of similar situation. Leeds, they'd want to win. Fulham, they'd want to win. So, I mean, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Bournemouth go. I think they'll probably be around the mid-table to lower mid-table area. There's no chance that they're threatened of relegation, though. They've got too many good players. They've got too many class players. Their manager is too good. Like, yeah, no, I don't think Bournemouth will even be considering relegation this season. So yeah, those were my thoughts on the Premier League opener, Friday Night Football, Liverpool 4, Bournemouth 2. Again, massive respect to all the fans for the way they handled the whole Jota thing, all the celebrations too. You know, Ekitike holding up the 20, Gakpo as well. Salah in tears at full time. Like, it's really... I don't think we as fans realise just how difficult it is for those players as well. And I think that's got to be an aspect of that performance and how Liverpool have been playing in pre-season. Whether you think they've been, you know, particularly good, I think they've been okay. But I mean, yeah, they've not only lost a teammate, but they've lost like a friend. A lot of them have known Jota for years. Even they would have even known him when he was at Wolves. So yeah, that's definitely going to be impacting the way they play. And yeah, massive respect to the way everyone handled it. And I'm obviously condemning that racist fan. Antoine Semenyo showed him levels, and yeah, that was a great way to open the season.